Hey everybody, this is Acadius, bringing you another episode of Life with Acadius. First off, I'm going to give a shout out to Vixen, a Twitter friend. She's also known as Gaming Equals Love. She's the one who gave me the idea to talk about this, because we had a conversation on Twitter about past heartbreaks. We were having a laugh about that. So you can thank her for this wonderful story. So anyway, this takes place several years ago. Relatively new to California at the time. I've been living out here for about 7 months, I think. And I'd worked at a video store, like, Blockbuster Video, Hollywood Video, but it was a small franchise of it. So you can imagine that, me not knowing anybody for the most part, and being single, I am anxious to meet a lady. So, because there weren't any single girls that worked with me at the store. So you can imagine my excitement when my manager, Dave, I believe his name was, tells me that he's doing an interview with a new hire, and it's a girl. And I just lit right up, and he's like, well, calm down, don't make this awkward for her. We don't need you just running at her with your hormones. So I'm like, oh no, I'm cool about this. And of course, later on that afternoon, or maybe it was break time, because there was a salon or whatever next door. I had my hair cut. It was getting rather long, so I'm like, well, I gotta look presentable for this girl sight unseen. I don't know if she's got a boyfriend, or could be, it could like girls, whatever. So I finally meet her a couple days later. Her name is Trish, and I can't say the last name because God knows if she ever stumbled across this, but I highly doubt it. Anyway, I meet Trish, and she's like 5'5", and blonde hair, just the ideal California girl. And I'm just all excited, and over the next several days we get to know each other, and I'm asking her questions that would typically require a response of, oh, well, my boyfriend and I do this or that, but she kept on responding with, oh no, I do this, I did this today, yada yada yada. And I should have just came out and asked, but you'll understand why later. So let's see. I'm trying to remember. I don't want to go too long with this story here. So Trish and I eventually, we got past that preliminary, getting to know each other phase. That phase of, oh, what's your favorite color? Oh, my color is blue. Mine too. What's your favorite band? Oh, I like this. Oh, me too. Even though you might have never cared for that music before, but now, because that person you're interested in likes it, you like it. And in this case, she was a huge fan of jazz or whatever. I think it was Tower of Power or something of that sort. And I'm like, oh yeah, I love jazz. Ugh, I couldn't stand jazz, especially back east when you got jazz and blues in every other corner. It's just like, enough of the noise. But hey, I like it too. And so we would be hanging out, and one thing would lead to another when she would come by my place, and we started having sex. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to go into detail, but yeah, we had sex. A lot of sex. Naughty no-no time. But what was peculiar about it was the fact that each morning she would leave before I would actually wake up, and there would be money on the nightstand table thing next to my bed. And I'm like, what? Okay, what is this? And I'm like, okay, maybe she just absent-mindedly left it behind. And so she'd come by the next night, and next morning, sure enough, there's another $20 bill. So by 4 days later, I have nearly $100 just on this table. And I finally, I called her up and I said, "Hey, Trish, what's with the money?" She's like, "Oh, that's yours." I'm like, "Mine? What do you mean that's mine?" "What? It's gas money." "Gas money? What?" "Yeah, I'm working. What the hell? I don't need gas money." "And wait, you drove over here." And even if I did drive over to her place, it's like, what, 15 minutes away? So she's like, "No, just keep..." I'm like, "Okay, fine. Alright, who am I going to argue? Money." Well, even to this day, my friends make fun of me. Like, "Oh, Acadius was a prostitute." But I figured out why. I think I figured out why many times later of why the money was being left behind, and I'll get to that soon. So at this point now, we're approaching the month of September, and with the month of September comes Acadius' birthday. Now Trish was letting me know that after she got out of her classes, because at that time I wasn't going to college in California, proving residency, all that stuff. But anyway, so she said, but when she got home in the evening, she was coming over and she was going to be taking me out, and she was going to take me to the beach, and we were going to do this, and then she was telling me other activities we were going to do. If you get my meaning, yes, we were going to have sex again. And it's like, all right, yes, that sounds like a great birthday. And so, all day on my birthday, because I didn't have to work that day. So I figure, well, I'm just going to take it easy. I'm saving up my energy, for no time. And so 6 o'clock rolls around, and she hasn't come by yet. I'm like, okay, that's odd. 7 o'clock rolls around. Still no word from her. And I didn't want to be that freaky stalker boyfriend. Like, what the hell? Where are you? So I called over to her apartment, her roommate Heather, and I said, "Hey Heather, have you seen Trish?" And she's like, "Hold on, Acadius, let me call you back." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." 5 minutes later, she calls me back. She's like, Heather says, "Yeah, Trish is at Tony's." I'm like, "Tony?" "Her boyfriend," she said. Well, my stomach turns to ice, and my heart just does this shattering, melting, blow-up thing. And I was just like, oh my god, no. And I'm just devastated by this, and I'm like, okay, well, I don't know. I had some alcohol ready. She's like, Heather's just like, well, you could come over here and kick it. And so I do. I go over to Trish and Heather's apartment because, well, Trish isn't going to be home. She's spending the night with Tony, her boyfriend. I'm the other guy. I'm the other prostitute, or whatever. So I get tipsy over at their apartment. Nothing happened between Heather and I. Let me just say that straight out. I just crashed on the sofa because I don't drink and drive. And so the next morning I woke up, got my ass home, and I think it was the day after, it was that evening, so the day after my birthday, and Trish comes around, and she's looking all forlorn and whatnot, and making it about her, I guess. And so I said to her, I go, "Why didn't you tell me you had a boyfriend?" And you're not going to believe her response. She actually says, "Well, Acadius, you never asked." I'm like, what? What? In my head, I'm thinking, well, should I ask if you have a disease since we're having sex? I'd hate to contract something because I didn't ask. But she goes on about Tony and about, that's the boyfriend's name, again. And she tells me about Tony and how he's moving to New York and by December, which is not too far away from September. And then her and I could be together. It's just that she doesn't want to break up with him before he moves to New York. I don't know what was wrong with me. That made sense at the time. Okay. Oh, and she says, well, but we're not having sex. Oh, yeah, sure. I believe you. I did. Foolishly. I mean, come on. Seriously. You're not going over there to just play Yahtzee or whatever. You know, it's like, come on. The devil's in the details. So, and also I thought, you know, well, maybe Tony treats her like crap. Find out, I forgot from whom, that Tony's actually a nice guy. And it was just a mess, you know, and a lot of other things, you know, unfolded as time went on. But what was funny is that her and I were enrolled at the same college, and we were supposed to be taking the same classes together. You know, it's going to be so much fun and cute, you know, her and I the same classes, and, you know, carpool together, and blah, blah, blah. Well, she rescheduled everything so that we only had one class together. And when Tony did take off, you know, fly out to New York, did she ever turn around and go, okay, we can be together? Nope. Suddenly, she just didn't want anything to do with me. And I'm like, oh my God. We were supposed to move in together, you know, get our own apartment, blah, blah, blah. It was just a nightmare. And what was funny, though, is that the one class we did share, you know, initially I went through that, oh, please, 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 you know, but then I'm like, you know, I'm making an ass out of myself. And one day I just said, I don't care anymore. And I started talking to the other girls in the class. And one day, Robin, a girl in my class, she's like, you know, that girl, Trish? I'm like, yeah. She's like, that's your ex-girlfriend, isn't it? I'm like, yeah. How did you know? She said, yeah, she gave me a letter. I'm like, what did the letter read? She said, well, Trish wrote that you're a dangerous person, you make people disappear, and I should stay as far away from you as I should. And I'm like, what? What? No. She's like, no, Acadius, I know you. You are a sweetheart, blah, blah, blah. She's just an ex-girlfriend that doesn't want to see you move on because that means, you know, you've forgotten about her. And I'm like, yeah, well, she's a piece of work. So anyway, that is the story. I haven't seen that Trish girl in a long, long time. I probably wouldn't recognize her if I tripped over her. So, one thing I did learn, though, is trust your instincts. You know, they're all, you have your eyes open to the red flags. You know, you can't live in this, you know, denial, you know, that seems perfect at that time, but later on it just comes and bites you in the ass. But, hey, I learned a valuable lesson, you know, is to ask if the girl has a boyfriend. You know, straight out. Yeah, they could lie to you, but that's all on them. Yeah, so anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little story, and please let me know what you thought. Subscribe. Let me know what other stories you want to hear. You know, give me some ideas. I got a ton of stuff I could talk about, but I don't know exactly where to start off, and I need a jumping point. So enjoy the rest of the gameplay here of Bloodborne. This is Acadius. I'm signing off here. You have a good one, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.